Welcome back to the channel, fellow adventurers. If you're new here, we do EDC gear and knife review videos. If you like that kind of content, subscribe to the channel. All right, folks, we have something new here from Pickled Steel. They sent this over for us to review, so thank you, Pickled Steel. As you know, I've reviewed one of their knives before. I interviewed their Freya, which I really liked. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one, so you can go check that out. First thing you get in the package is you get these two cool Pickled Steel stickers. You get the little square sticker, and then you get the larger Pickled Steel because you can't cut bleep with a cucumber. So, nondescript black box, but when you open it up, that's where the real fun lies. We've got here the Pickled Steel case, soft-sided case, with the nice Pickled Steel logo on there. And inside we've got the knife, cleaning cloth, and you've got a pivot tool, extra hardware, and an extra clip. So we'll get those out of the way. Let's get the knife out of its plastic. So this is the Rhino. This is a large knife. Let's get that cleaned off a bit. Just so everybody knows, this is part of a pass-around group, so I do have to send this along to the next person, and the person before me obviously covered this and didn't clean it so well. But let's take a look at what we got. It's a big knife. It's got a very unique blade shape, which initially, when I saw this online, I didn't like this. I thought it was ugly, I'm not going to lie. But seeing it in person, it actually looks really cool. And you can see where they get the name Rhino. You can see the rhino's horn right there. This is 14C28N blade steel in a satin finish. And it's got a nice length to it. It comes in at 207 millimeters. So I'm going to pause this right here so I can look up what size that is. Okay, so with some quick math, again, overall length is 207 millimeters, which converts to 8.15 inches. So that's a pretty big knife. Blade-wise, it's 91 millimeters, which converts to 3.85 inches. So almost 4 inches of blade there. And weight, it's got some weight to it. It comes in at 140 grams, which converts to 4.99 ounces. So it's got weight. Right away, when you look at it, you've got the Pickled Steel logo right there. So it's not billboarded. On the other side, you just have the model name and the steel type. I don't know if you can see that. Let's bring that down a bit. You have a deep carry clip that is reversible. You have the designer's name on there, which is Miguel Hetzel. He's the designer. Interesting place to put the name. But even though it's on the clip, it's not overwhelming. And it kind of blends in if you just move a few inches away from it. So if you look, you've got a little touch of blue on the pivot collar, which is nice. It's a captive pivot, thumb stud deployable, flipper tab deployable. One hand operation, very drop shutty. Snaps right out of there, sounds great. And like I said, one hand deployable, drop shutty, and the flipper has some beautiful jimping on that. Take a look at that. That just sounds awesome. So you've got this bright orange G10 handle, which is textured, really nice. Feels really good in the hand, definitely. You've got jimping on here. The jimping is a little slick because of the way they polish this, it makes this just a little slick, and my finger just wants to slide. It doesn't really grab. That's a minor complaint I would have with it. Very minor though. I think if you just took a little bit of sandpaper with that, you could take off that slick edge, make that a little rougher, you know, to really hold. And let's show it in comparison size-wise to some other knives that are considered decent size. First, we have the Manix 2 lightweight. So pivot to pivot, They're very close in size. The Rhino's slightly longer. Cutting edge is a lot longer if you look. Next one we'll take out is a Kaiser Militar. And this one has been customized to me into a single colorway. And if you look, the Kaiser Militar handle's about the same length. Blade is slightly shorter. So that kind of gives you an idea, size-wise, of how big this is against two very popular knives out there. Let's get these out of the way. So let's proceed. Let's try and see how this cuts. Now, mind you, I don't know if this has been sharpened by anyone. I doubt it. I'm hoping it has the factory edge still on it. I don't know if this has been passed around to a few people, but let's see how it takes paper. Look at that. Super cutty. And I'm slicing 2 slices of paper at once, just so everybody sees. So this thing is really super duper slicey. Look at that. And that's because this is whetstone sharpened, which is something pickled steel does. Now let's take it and cut some paracord. Like butter that cut through that. We'll double up the paracord. Look at that, like a hot knife through butter. Fantastic. So, we'll just put that down there. So this is, again, the Pickled Steel Rhino. I think this comes in at around $57 American. So I think this is just a great value. You know, it's decent steel. It's built like a tank. You could just feel it. As you can see, it's extremely sharp, and people have been cutting with this. This was through a pass around group. And I just think it's a really excellent knife. Great for EDC. And I think it'll work as a hard use knife. I don't know how, you know, if it'll handle batoning and stuff like that, but I think this will work as a hard use knife. Highly recommend it. And I want to thank Pickled Steel for sending this along. All right, folks. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to the channel. And every Sunday, we do a live stream at 11 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. And I'd love to have you guys stop by and join that. It's always a lot of fun. All right, folks. As I always say, until we meet again, keep your blade sharp